Just before I start this video, if you guys would like to take part in my subscriber showcase drag battles, all you gotta do is make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and have me added on Xbox. My gamer tag is Ericship and all the information will be posted on my activity feeds, and I hope to see you guys there. Yo, what's cracking everyone? Ericship 111 here, and welcome to another episode of my Hot Lap battle. Now, since the Porsche DLC just got released a few days ago, I have been eager to see how some of the fastest Porsches would do around our test track. Of course, in this battle, we will be focusing on the 2016 Porsche 911 GT3 RS. However, this won't be the only supercar to enter into our Hot Lap battle, as we've also brought the Mclaren 570s for a direct comparison. An additional 2 supercars who have already been around our test track in previous episodes will be returning as a benchmark for both the McLaren and Porsche in the final Hot Lap, and that will be the 2017 Nissan GTR and the 2016 Dodge Viper ACR. Now, looking at the stats given by Forza Horizon 3, we can see that the Porsche GT3 RS and the Dodge Viper ACR are both classed at S2, with the GT3 scoring a total of 929, just 2 points more than the Dodge, and both the GTR and 570s have been classed lower at S1, with the GTR scoring a total of 861 and the McLaren at the lowest at 846. Now, looking at the stats individually, we can see that the Porsche and Dodge have superb braking and very good handling, as they are more track-focused supercars, but the Viper's speed is its biggest downfall thanks to the massive rear wing at the back. And looking at the GTR and 570s, we can see that their braking and handling aren't just quite up to par as the other two, but everything else is relatively quite even. And looking at the real performance figures, the Porsche produces the least power here at 493 brake horsepower, and the Dodge produces the most at 645, while both the GTR and McLaren producing just over 560 brake horsepower each. In terms of weight, the 570s is the lightest, weighing just over 3,000 pounds, followed very closely by the Porsche and Dodge, but the GTR is by far the heaviest, weighing nearly 1,000 pounds more than the 570s. The GTR, however, does possess an all-wheel drive drivetrain, while the other three have only rear-wheel drive. Since both the Viper ACR and Nissan GTR have been around our test track, I won't be doing an initial impressions lap in those cars, but if you want to hear my opinions on how they drive, I'll link the videos down in the description below, but we will be test driving the other 2 cars around our track for an initial impressions lap, then show each of the hot laps individually, and finally putting all the hot laps together in a side-by-side comparison, revealing the times they clocked and where they rank in our hot lap leaderboards. First up, the Mclaren 570s. Okay, so I'm in the Mclaren 570s right now, and right off the line, not too much wheel spin. The acceleration's very good for a car with rear wheel drive and 560 brake horsepower, but let's see how it goes in the very first significant corner around this track. And as you can see there, the cornering is a little bit weird because it felt like as I was turning and accelerating, I was losing grip, giving myself a bit of understeer, and then when I let go of the throttle a bit, it became oversteer, and it just felt that the car doesn't want to grip as much. Now, I know the McLaren 570s doesn't pull many Gs as opposed to the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, so going around the corners, I have to be a little bit careful not to go too fast, because if I go too fast, the tires will start screeching, looking for as much grip as possible, and then if I go even faster, I'm just going to hit the wall that I'm driving towards. And the only way to combat this is obviously going around the corners a lot slower. And also, given that the fact that the McLaren 570s is rear-wheel drive as well, I have to be quite delicate with the throttle, especially going out of corners. I don't want to be turning that understeer or turning that lack of grip into a drift, which then transitions into a power slide, and this is all causing me to lose all this time possible around the track, because I don't want to be smoking up the tires while driving around the track at all, so I can gain the maximum traction, therefore giving me the best possible hot lap. But apart from that, there's not really too much else to say about the McLaren 570s. Fairly quickly around the straight, just the cornering slightly lacking a little bit. But I also do want to say something, because the 570s is very light, the braking for a supercar of this caliber that's not necessarily track focused is extremely good. But anyways, here is the hot lap from the McLaren 570s. Okay, so now I'm in the new 2016 Porsche 911 GT3 RS, and right off the line, what I love about this car is even though it's rear wheel drive, there's barely any wheel spin at all, which means acceleration is incredibly brutal. And coming into the very first significant corner, I can feel that this car definitely has essence of a pure racing car, because the cornering is just so responsive and so sharp that clipping apexes is not a problem whatsoever. And then when you combine that with the superb on the dot braking, it just makes the GT3 RS an incredible track car to drive around. And because everything is so in sync with one another, it's actually quite easy to drive. The immediate braking gives you a bit more forgiveness if you brake late. And then with the sharp cornering, it doesn't necessarily matter where you try to enter the apex from, you're still going to clip it with the sharp response. And then with the phenomenal grip and traction from the GT3 RS, you can exit corners with full throttle without losing any time possible. And that is why the GT3 RS is one of the fastest cars around the Nürburgring. And for a car that has less horsepower than the McLaren 570s, the McLaren just cannot hold a candle to this car at all. But anyways, here is the hot lap from the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. So now that you have seen both the McLaren 570s and the Porsche 911 GT3 RS go around our hot lap, it's time to put them in a side-by-side comparison along with the Dodge Viper ACR and Nissan GTR, revealing the times that both the cars clock and where they rank in our hot lap leaderboards. As we move over to the hot lap leaderboards, we can see that the Porsche 911 GT3 RS clocked a lap time of 55.5 seconds, ranking itself in 17th position, defeating the Dodge Viper ACR by 0.3 of a second, which clocked a lap time of 55.8 seconds. And as we scroll all the way down, we can see that the Mclaren 570s clocked a lap time of 59.3 seconds, ranking itself in 33rd position, just slightly slower than the Nissan GTR. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of our hot lap battle featuring one of the Porsches from the Porsche expansion pack. If you guys did, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more Forza Horizon 3 content in the future done by me, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.